Liam's Map by Unbridled Song. If you haven't seen his runner-up finish in the Whitney, trust me, it's one of the most memorable second-place finishes I've ever seen. I still wonder what would have happened if he would have ran the Classic that year against American Pharoah instead of absolutely dominating the dirt mile where Javier never even had to go to the crop. As a stallion at Lanes End, he's proving he can get success on both dirt and turf. We've seen Grade 1 winners like Basin, Colonel Liam, Wicked Whisper, and Juju's Map. And now, promising types like Deterministic popping up on different surfaces. The dual surface aspect might not have been obvious from his own race record, but it sure shows up in his foals. All in all, he's made a huge impact in a short time and has been a great addition to the Lanes End roster. Steve, Liam's Map, you know your way around there with two Grade 1 winners, a Colt and a filly, Wicked Whisper and Basin. Tell me a little bit about what the similarities you see with those two as it pertains to Liam's Map.
Well, Liam's Map's probably, one of my favorite sons of Unbridled Song from his racing career. Level of ability he was just fast horse. He was a fast horse, Breeders' Cup Mile winner. Very fortunate to have a couple excellent Liam's Maps, as you mentioned, out of his first crop, Grade 1 winner, Basin and Wicked Whisper. Both of them very precocious, very fast, very generous, athletes in their own right.
Christoph, these Liam's Maps, you got them all over your barn. A couple that I think are pretty cool, Deterministic, Silver Skillet. Deterministic, both of them have won big races on both surfaces. What is it about those two horses and the Liam's Maps in general that you feel like lead them to be able to do that, to be good on both surfaces?
Well, first of all, I was a big fan when Liam's Map was running. Todd trained him, with a great career. I believe, I remember him when I think he won the Breeders' Cup Mile, I believe. And he was a very good racehorse, very athletic. And the one that we got, been usually very athletic, the Deterministic, the Rose for Deborah, the Silver Skillet. We had a few more, but these three would be the main three. And there's being so athletic, they seem to be handling tough dirt. Deterministic won the Gotham, as you know, and he won 2 other stakes after that on grass. Rose for Deborah was amazingly fast, was a top-class filly who sold very well in the November sale, as you know. And Silver Skillet also won stakes on both turf and dirt. Very athletic filly. All of them have been very sound for us. And I've just been lucky with him.
Deterministic. It looks like he's probably set to have a pretty big 4-year-old year. I feel like horses that kind of come on like he has late in his 3-year-old year are set for big things as 4-year-olds. Do you think you'll do both surfaces, or do you think you'll stick to the grass with him at this point?
No, I don't know. If he trains well, I already told the owners, if he trains well when we bring him back, in February, March, I'm not against training him back as the first race of the year on dirt, and then you go from there. But if the works are good enough and we're excited about it, why not? You've got plenty of options as a 3-year-old on dirt in New York. And, let the horse tell us. Let the work tell you. If the works are exciting, we probably will bring him back on dirt.
Liam's Map, another one at Lanes End that you trained. And Liam's Map, we had Javier on, or maybe we'll have him after this. I don't know which way I'm going to order these, but he talked a little bit about, he's one of the only Breeders' Cup winners he's never had to use the crop on. He was sensational that day at Keeneland. What are you seeing in his offspring that you saw in him as a racehorse?
Same thing that I probably repeat this oftentimes when you ask me about a stallion, but freakish talent, super high cruising speed, ability to carry it over erratic ground, and versatile. I think he's one of those horses that when you're going to the Breeders' Cup, you can look at literally probably now, knowing how much success he's had as a turf stallion, you could look at like 4 different races. You could run him in the sprint, you could run him in the dirt mile, you could run him in the turf mile, you could run him in the classic. He's just that versatile.
Javier, Liam's Map, another Lanes End stallion you had the pleasure of riding, or maybe we Lanes End had the pleasure of having you ride. Talk a little bit about what you remember about Liam's Map.
My first impression, Liam Map, he was such a talented horse. He broke his slow out of the gate a little bit. It was easy money in the Breeders' Cup Keeneland racetrack. And from the starting gate to the first turn, we don't have much room. And he broke his slow out of the gate. And I had to get in my position early in the first stage. We thought we supposed to be in the lead a horse, but he's such a talented horse. He run the lead, he run off the pace, inside, outside. It was track inside all over the way, every single step away in the race. And I liked the way he saddled, and a very powerful move from the 3/8 pole to the quarter pole. I asked him put in the clear. He went by. I believe that's the only race in the Breeders' Cup, and I never hit a horse. I just to show the crap and engage a horse. A very powerful horse and very impressive. I miss a lot because it could my good talented horse.
Mike, there's a lot of horses that have some pretty special second places on their resume. Torpedo Anna this year, I thought her second place, the fierceness of the Travers, was outstanding. But I think Liam's Map still is up there for one of the most impressive seconds I've ever seen. When you lost that Whitney going really fast early, but he hung on. Talk a little bit about Liam's Map.
Oh, man. Horse that got away from me, man. I wish I could have kept him. He did run an incredible race that day. Went a bit quick early. We thought that, putting him on the lead would make him brave, and it did. But he didn't need to go that quick, and I realized after that he didn't necessarily need the lead. I mean, Javier rode him in the Breeders' Cup Mile after that, just rode him brilliantly, and he showed how good he really was. But he ran a 1:08 that day. I mean, and he did all the work, man, from the word go. I mean, just look at the fractions that he ran. And for him to hang on like that and just get beat a nose at the end of the whole thing was just incredible. And being by Unbridled Song, who I was blessed to have ridden his whole career. So it meant a lot to me. That was one that I wish I could have kept.
Liam's Map, who is in the Hall of Fame, in my opinion, for best second place finishes. Torpedo Anna jumped into that one this year, running second to Fierceness in the Travers. But Liam's Map and his Whitney, where he set those fast fractions and got ran down, then went on to win the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I only wonder what would have happened if they would have ran him a little bit later that day in the Breeders' Cup Classic against American Pharoah. Liam's Map was outstanding on the racetrack, but he's also been pretty good in the breeding shed.
Yeah, he's a great stallion to have, and he's really producing top quality offspring, especially coming from the AP Indy line. Bernardini, especially, also Stormcat mares going down that line, and then Indian Charlie as well. So those mares all work really well with him. He's also a great commercial horse in the sales ring. This past year in 2024, he had 40 yearlings sell for $150,000 or more. That just shows that they look the part as well as in the sales ring as well as on the racetrack. I've always found that he throws a consistent shape to his horses, just that balance that we talked about before. He just throws that consistently, that they have this great shape that bloodstock agents, breeders, and trainers just fall in love with.